KMD.
Hold it down.
Hold it down. Episode 4. Another one. Part 2. Or is this part 3?
Part 3.
Whatever.
Yes, technically.
Part 4, man.
I don't even know what the title is.
It's week 4, but it's another one, part 3.
Yeah, it's another one, part 3.
You're right.
I don't know what Price is going to name this one. It's probably going to be something clever and shit, but we'll see.
Who knows? I never know until I post it.
Right, you're right. So, as always, I'm one of your hosts, Matt Coombs, and then I have another host with me. We call him around these parts, we call him the Kid. What's up?
The Kid Wayne live from the 609. TN all day slug if you're nasty. But TN all day for real, because people are really into TN right now, and I'm kind of liking it. But I'm high. Yeah. Hi.
I don't know why they're into bad decks, but it's fine.
Whoa! Oh my God! I can hear the shots fired from here.
My other host, Chris Kreitzman. What's up, man?
Hey guys, what's going on? I don't know how I can justify what you just said to Wayne, but it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay.
It is going to be all right. We're going to have to fight.
Luckily, we got an hour-ish to hash it out and hash out our differences.
That's
okay.
At the end of the day, we'll still be friends. So.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna dive in. Did we have anything left over from last week? I know that we sometimes have anything. Like, did we have any questions that came up?
Nah, man. Anything older than 5 days, you got to throw it out, no matter how good it is.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think there was anything. I don't think there was anything that was requested that we're not going to already be talking about this week. So
dope. All right. Yeah. So we're just going to dive right into the first topic. Is Namekian restored Gohan? So this is, I'm assuming, the Ally and Friends build. Is that deck too good? And we're going to start this off. We're going to kick it off with Kreitzman. You tell me what's going on. What's going on with this deck?
Yeah, so the reason why we're bringing up the discussion, for those who maybe didn't see the retro post that went up a couple days ago, I was doing some research. Josh Duquette also was doing some research on retro and was asking about the decks that have been winning the Kai events. And it came to our attention that 3 of the 4 Kai events so far this year have been won by Namekian Restored Gohan. North Kai by Matt Tambor, West Kai by Oscar Liu, and then South Kai by Corey Aguilard. And then, obviously, East Kai was won by Josh Duquette himself with his Saiyan-empowered Broly. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, that there's no real definite deck that is the number 1 spot, and then this information kind of showed up. So it's definitely something for us to consider, I think, moving forward, not just in OP season, but just in the game in general. Like, Namekian Gohan is apparently a big deal.
Wayne, what do you think, man?
Well, it's definitely solid. I used to think it was the best deck. Like, I guess in the early stages of Fanzy. And I've been removed from the deck for quite some time, but I did get to play some games with it today against an Orange 20 deck. And it's the thing with that deck is that you never, from the start of the game, you never feel like things are out of hand. Because you have advantage via whatever ally you want. It just gives you so much consistency. You get a hand filter, and then when you get to level 2, forget about it. You pretty much got any card you want in your deck. Yeah, it gives your opponent a hard way to go. I think that what might deter someone from playing it is the fact that it puts you in a mental Hurtbox all day. You know what I mean? Every game is going to pretty much go the distance, if not close to it. And I think that the deck that is kind of soft to, not even really soft, but a little bit soft to like the committed anger decks, people just aren't running those decks right now. So. I don't know. I don't know how often. What do you guys think?
So if we just break down like what you just said, I think the thing that stands out the most, aside from what's probably going to be the title of our episode, which is the Hurtbox, is the fact that the deck gives you the feel that you're in every game. This is the same way I described Black Devious Cooler in Set 6. And what makes decks like that just so powerful. Because, like you said, from turn 1 until the end of the game, you never feel like you are far behind at all. And if you are ever behind, like, you have so many different ways to manipulate and win the game through the cards left in your deck as your resource, through your selective rejuvenation with hybrid defense, through still being able to just randomly Dragon Ball out on somebody if the game goes bad, that the deck ends up being incredibly powerful, especially in the hands of talented players. I mean, if we look at Matt Tambor, he went to Worlds the first time around. I'm not sure if he did the second time around. He may have. Oscar Liu, I mean, I'm not too sure, but I would assume he's a good player because he's playing that deck. And then Corey Aguilard, who we know is a really solid player as well. These aren't just people that are, average at the game. These are people that are good players playing a deck that makes you feel like you could be in any game. So I think that's where the deck's, performance is kind of showing up. Its results are showing up.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things I posted up on the initial retro post was that it really is kind of like, it was the perfect storm for them. Like, they're competent players with a deck that has multiple avenues to victory, in a meta that wasn't really prepared for them. So I think you're right. I think it's not just the deck or the MP that's kind of pushing it. It's kind of all of those factors put into one package,
Yeah. I don't think that when you start the game, like, you don't feel like you're behind. You definitely, like, before you even draw a card, before your opponent draws a card, you're in the driver's seat, in my opinion.
But yeah, Restored Mastery does that.
Yeah, because, like, you can just go get whatever suits you. Like, Tag Team kind of gives you that advantage, too, but with Tag Team, it's only once per game, and it's only one ally, whereas, in Namekian Restored, it's every single time you go into combat until you get 3 allies. And at that point, you're already so far ahead and you can see their hand probably because you got Baba and Oxting turning off, like, mods and stuff. Like, it's just a lot is going for you with minimal effort to get it set up, so. Obviously, it's going to. The best thing you can do is put yourself in a situation where you're consistent in a game, which normally breeds inconsistency by drawing 3 off the top. You kind of fix that.
Yeah. So the one thing that was kind of cool too, and I don't know how many of them were doing this, but it seemed like the MP stacks were definitely like a kind of like blended mix. So like we said, the Ally level 1 and the Awakening level 2 are basically the staples, right? And then
except
level 3,
for Oscar Liu's build.
What was? Do you know what his level 2 was?
He was using Future level 2.
Okay, and I could see like wanting to use that because it just pushes in the raw damage as long as they use a power. The Future level 3 seems like it complements the other 2 parts of the stack there, and then 4 is kind of do what you want. It seems like I've seen some playing, like Corey played the Future level 4. I believe Matt played the Awakening level 4, and both seem like they're great options. Even like the original Gohan, while it is like nerfed, like the fact that it gives you bonus damage also and a way to rejuvenate stuff, like I could see if you're not playing the Ally level 1 and keeping the MPPV option open, then even that level 4 could potentially be good for the deck. So it's cool that like not only are you fixing the randomness of your deck, but your MP stack like has just so many good options that you really can tailor it to what you expect to play that day, which is insane.
Yep. And you're playing a deck that just has the ability to give you the virtual and actual card advantage you need in order to be successful in this game. And it's able to do it consistently against other decks that are trying to do the same thing, but actually by generating raw advantage. That's why Frisco Foz, who I would say definitely is the pioneer of this version of the deck, played it at Worlds, and his Goku matchup was just so positive because he could always match the hand quality through the blocks that he would have on the table, additionally through the ability to reuse Dragon Balls, and then also, the perfect knowledge that Baba gives. It allows you to play around your opponent, and it lets you save Gohan's level 2 power for the most opportune time, so you can, get the most value out of that power itself. So it's a deck that's strong because it gives you all those accesses to play on, whereas there's a lot of strategies out there that if they wanted to do something similar just wouldn't come close because there's not as much synergy.
Good. So one of the things I was going to say about the deck is how is it fair against other board-heavy matches? Because, like, to me it seems like it would be weak against those sorts of strategies, but I haven't really played against it or with it, so I don't know personally.
Board-heavy, you said?
Yeah. So, like, other ally decks or, like, drill-heavy decks, things like that.
Coombs?
I think it's probably the best slowest deck in the game. The main reason why is because there's a few things that happen that are really important for any sort of slow deck. So number one, you have an MP that's generating an advantage on level 1 of getting one of those cards out of the deck without you having to try that hard. Number two, the planning step count on those decks is actually relatively low because of Yajirobe. Because you're not running a lot of Wind and Ring effects, so you're just running your Dragon Ball tutors, your drills that are going to give you the additional card advantage as well. And then just the fact that it has one of the big things that Control decks needs, which is the ability to gain life, and Namekian is, of course, going to be the best of that style. So if any game goes long, you have all that working for you, plus playing with perfect knowledge, plus being able to smooth out your draws with level 2, and you have the inevitability of all 7 Dragon Balls sitting within your deck. And you have the best ways to access it, whether if it be Restored Mastery. I mean, there's some games where you have Ox King out, you know they're not going to crit, you'll just take damage just to get a Dragon Ball to the bottom of your deck. And then you're increasing your win condition as the game goes on. So against slower decks, it tends to be definitely more favored, especially a deck that is, doesn't have access to those tools. I think another big part about the deck is the fact that it shuffles so much. And that's one of the things that Control decks need in this game is the ability to stabilize and, of course, be able to put those tools back into your deck and being able to shuffle your deck so you can reuse those tools. So it just ends up doing a much better job. So that deck mid-game can turn into an aggro deck just because in the slower matchups it can put those more aggressive cards like Salvo back into the deck and then continue to reuse them, whereas another Control deck will not be able to do that across the course of a long game.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So one of the things that just kind of popped into my mind while we were talking is, so we know that Black is becoming more popular again. Like the style seems like it's finally out of the kind of like pit trap it was in, and it's like clawing its way back into the meta. So a card that seems like it would really hurt that deck, at least in my mind, is Black Obstructing Drill, the one that turns off all infinite powers on allies. Do you think that is something to consider if you expect to see a lot of Namekian Gohan decks, or do you think it's just too niche and not worth the slot or potential slots in your deck?
Wayne, what do you think?
Well, I think that with that card, I've definitely looked at it before, but the problem is that you don't really want to put it in your deck in the first place. And then a lot of the times, like I say about 8 times out of 10, your deck is probably going to be not wanting to stay on 1, and you never want to play drills in a deck you're not going to get the most value from. So it's tough. It does make sense, but I think that people find themselves moving more towards the more streamlined tools like Tug of War, because they're destroying cards at the top of the deck, or perhaps like Destructive Beam. That's actually just one that I run, no one else runs, but like maybe like Chin Kick, for example. Yeah. They feel like the Band-Aid is better than getting the surgery done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. The reason why the drill kind of popped into my mind was I've been thinking about trying out Black Android 20, and it seems like Obstructing Drill in that list would be great because whether you're on level 1 or level 2, like you're not gonna typically go past those levels, and so having that as a tool in your deck that there are resources in Black like Gut Crusher that lets you search your deck for a style drill and put it into play outside of 20 already tutoring out like his prevention drill, scouting drill, and things like that. So it's something that seems like it could be useful, but it might only be useful in that sort of kind of deck, that archetype, where like you're going to be flooding the board with stuff anyway, so you're not going to be leveling unless you want to. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's kind of a food for thought sort of thing.
I think Kami can get him too with that card and that combo, because he'd be able to find the drill pretty easily too.
Yeah, he can get any style drill.
Yeah, and I think
so that could be pretty good.
Yeah, Black has pretty good like milling type of toolbox too, so that might actually be a thing worth thinking about or pursuing. So. Yeah,
but I mean, you also have to think about. So I mean, you can use that drill as you were saying Wayne. I like the Band-Aid versus the surgery. I think that if you're going into a competitive tournament and you're not playing a deck that's able to generate a significant number of critical damage effects, I think you're just in a world for trouble, because there's a lot of ways to deal with a drill that's on the table. Like whether if it's ball 4 or stuff that's shuffling it back in or just killing it outright. But being able to generate critical damage effects do a lot of things. Number one, it gets around Icarus, which is a big deal. And number two, of course, it allows you to get some Dragon Ball control, because you're going to be fighting over Namek Ball 1 for a lot of the game. So once you get that big swing turn where you can crit the ally that you need off the board, crit Ball 1, and then crit a powerful ball like Ball 3, 5, or 7, like, you're going to find yourself just in a much better stance, as opposed to just playing Obstructing Drill. And that's the problem with Black right now. Like, Black doesn't have a card that directly just gives you a critical damage effect.
Overhead Burst, does that give you a crit, or you have to do something for that?
Overhead Burst, you have to discard a card.
Yeah, discard a card.
On hit.
Yeah. So the reason why I think Black might be a good counter to the deck, one, so Conflict Mastery can kind of help you. It doesn't obviously guarantee you crits, but it helps bridge that gap a little bit easier. And it has a lot of tools, I think, that can really put a damper on the deck strategy. Because, you have cards like Black Declarations. You can hit basically anything that they have in play that you don't want, like a setup Drill or Ally or Dragon Ball, right? You hit any of them. So that seems good. Again, Obstructing Drill in the right build could be good. They have a lot of cards now. Well, I guess there's not a ton of them, but cards like Trick Shot, right? So you can stop him from gaining anger during combat, so he can't jump up to his higher levels and try to take over a combat where he already has an edge because of Trick Shot.
But I feel like he doesn't even really care about that, though.
He might not.
Go ahead.
Well, he might not. I just don't know.
Yeah, you're not going to stop him from getting from 1 to 2, and once he's at 2, if he stays at 2, it's fine because he can just toolbox his deck every turn. If he gets to 3, it's just icing at that point, right?
Yeah, and I guess the problem with Black is it has no real way to knock you back down levels outside of playing your own Dragon Balls. Or I guess you could play Ocular Pat Down, right? Because your level 1 is forcing you up a level and giving up MPPV. So we haven't really seen, at least I didn't run into any decks that were playing Ocular Pat Down at South Kai, but that might be something to consider if you're afraid of just losing to Namekian at the next big event, or any event that is in the foreseeable future, because it's just a tool that just didn't exist up until this new set. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, I was just saying it's you have to always consider these small advantages that you can gain, but the downside is you're kind of watering down your deck, right? And that's why I think Black is the alright option, because its game plan is already to stop your game plan. It wins by making sure that you can't. So it seems like it's the deck that's more feasible to put those tools in without watering down its own win condition. Whereas other decks, you have to give up slots to actual cards that are actually pushing your game plan forward. So it's this weird balancing act that I think, not to keep harking on Black as a style that's coming up, but I think that might give it an edge to really warrant people playing it.
Yeah.
I agree. It's just, again, like you said, you have to play those kind of fringe cards that you feel as though they water down your deck, but they are necessary. It's like those cards exist for a reason, and people will look at it and they'll just look at the card as, just a card, and they'll say, I get what it does, but I'm going to hate drawing it if I'm not in the perfect situation to use it. But you just have to play them. Otherwise, you pay for it if you come up against that matchup.
Yeah, and we've talked about already, in the past about how you can't win every matchup. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you should give up trying to, right? And it just depends on
yourself. I can win anything.
So it just comes down to how much of your deck you want to give up to kind of get that extra couple percent in a matchup that's already likely not in your favor anyway. It's a weird thing to consider.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what makes this game so great and difficult at the same time. But I think if you just have two capabilities in your deck, as long as you're able to generate critical damage effects and you have discard power removal, I think you have a chance to win that matchup. But if your deck is not doing both of those things, or it's doing one of them lackluster, you're just going to find yourself in a situation where, unfortunately, Gohan is just a deck that can also just outlast you. And so you're if you are not doing either of those two things effectively, or you're not doing one of those things to the extreme, you're just going to find yourself falling behind and losing to the fact that they're just going to outvalue you, because it's going to come down to a lot of the times their cards are just going to end up being better than your cards.
Yep.
And you have to really make that matchup work and make that a point. Cards like it sucks, but yeah, running Ocular Pat Down I think is a good thing to do. I would maybe run a copy of it. I could also see squeezing a copy of Isolation into your deck, because it's gonna deal with allies and drills for an entire turn. So that'll help you in multiple matchups, which is nice. But I wouldn't go above a copy of it. And then you have cards that you can just think outside the box. So you can think of Red Restriction, trying to take away Restored Mastery and Gohan level 2's power. You can think of ways to, you can play attacks that have to be stopped by a certain type of block, whether it be physical or energy combat. So then that way you're taking Piccolo, Chi-Chi, Hybrid Defense, and Time as a Warrior's Tool out of the equation. So there's other things you can think about when you're starting to build your decks that can give you a little bit of percentage in that matchup. But if you really want to maximize your percentage, you should really be focusing on critical damage effects and discard power removal.
Now, it's funny that you say that. This is an interesting topic, and it's not directly related to Gohan, but it kind of is.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, so when Blue Goku was running rampant, right?
Yeah.
When you were building your deck, or at least I was really concerned with how many actions I can get my deck to generate to kind of, stay competitive with that type of deck. Now, Gohan is kind of like that, but it's in a different aspect, because turn one, probably, if not the first combat, definitely the second one, he's probably going to have two blocks on board with his allies. So in order for you to actually, poke through, you need, the neighborhood of 2 or 3 attacks. You know what I mean? And then even if you do, you're only getting one through. Okay, so, and that's not to talk about, however much he's going to rejuve that combat also. So now, being as though there's a serious downtick in Goku, do you think that having your deck generate as many actions as possible is as important?
Kreisman, you want to answer first?
So it might not be necessarily the sheer amount of them, but I think quality is always going to be an issue in the game, right? You have to make sure that everything you're doing is serving a purpose and kind of pushing you, in a forward direction. I do think that there still is something to be said about decks that can prolong combats for as long as possible, but we have been seeing a lot of strategies lately that care about not being in combat or getting out of combat when they need to. So having your deck full of ways to prolong combat just to have them wasted feels bad.
Yeah.
But, that's my take on it, at least.
Yeah. That's the only thing with trying to, I think you also just need to focus on the overall card quality that you're playing in your deck and how many actual cards you're being netted from playing a card. I know that sounds awkward, but if you take, for instance, something like the card Devastating Blow, which is highly touted, it's just one of the best cards. The main reason why is because, number one, you're playing an attack for +1 stage of damage, which it probably isn't going to draw a block from your opponent, so it's maybe worth half a card to start. But then you're adding on the 3 Anger Swing, which, depending on the relevant matchup, it can be 0.5 to 1 full card. And then the discard power removal is worth, a variable that can change just based on how impactful those cards were that you removed and how, the course of the game is affected by that. So the value on that card can end up being anywhere from 1.5 to cards to beyond exponentially just based on the value that you get off the removal. So when you're putting your deck together, you really need to be looking at your effects and trying to see how much is this card that I'm playing actually worth a card in this matchup. Because there's a lot of instances where you're going to find, after you check out your deck that, wow, it's actually not. And that's where you're going to end up finding yourself, losing some of those matchups that you shouldn't just because your overall card quality is just poorer than your opponent's card quality. And if you look at Restored Gohan's deck list, it's really hard to find cards that are not worth a card.
Yeah. Well, and the crazy part about that deck is if the card happens to be not that great, you have multiple ways to just throw it away and turn it into something else.
Exactly.
I think on top of that, it doesn't play that many cards that aren't that great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a deck full of the greatest hits.
Yeah, it's a straight compilation mixtape.
I was gonna say it's a mixtape that is all rise. Already. I do think I think Blue Resolute Goku could be played now, even without Blue Terror. Main reason why is because I think that deck, even from the get-go, was being played improperly because a lot of people were just trying to shove damage down your throat, as opposed to being more so of a mid-range strategy that could just turn the corner on level 4.
Yeah.
Because the deck that I was playing up until Worlds that I didn't end up actually play, I was running a copy of Blue Wash, like just because of the restored Gohan matchup. So. You'd get to 4, get Blue Wash, you'd up, basically, their board would just be put into their hand, and then you would get a turn to do what you need to do. And then from there, they would then have to rebuild that board and try and rebuild this card advantage, and then whatever I could do, I could go get a Blue Betrayal the next turn, I could go get a card that can generate a meaningful effect the next turn. So, again, it's just, take a deck and then really just kind of evaluate the way you're building it, and then try and see if that's going to help improve your matchups. So there's a lot of decks that aren't seeing play right now that definitely should, especially like you said earlier, Wayne, decks that are dedicated to MPPV, like any Ascension deck is like super strong right now.
So since we're talking about like the meta at large, what do you think are like the things you should prep for moving into like major events?
Good, Wayne.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on what Coons was saying with crits, because crits are really important right now, because even if it's not Gohan, like there are a lot of Dragon Ball decks like kind of floating around, and people are kind of warming up to the idea of the Earth Balls with the release of Kami and stuff. So I think that critting is a really, really powerful effect. The thing is that people may not realize is that the more these sets get released, there's been like a mini uptick in the cards that are printed with endurance. So all of a sudden, the cards that were doing 5 life cards before consistently aren't critting. And you might think, man, like the meta made my deck bad, but like it's not really like the meta. It's just we're getting access to more and more cards with endurance. And it's crazy. It's crazy in a good way, because we were also given tools to mitigate, the uptick in endurance. There are a bunch of cards now that can only be stopped by a certain thing, or can't use endurance, or there are even cards that penalize your opponent for using endurance. So I think that people don't play those cards, so they don't feel the positive to, they don't feel the positive that the weapons that were given. Their sword is still in the sheath. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
I probably still sound retarded. It's okay. I know what I was trying to say. Fuck y'all.
Talking about crits and cards that can only be stopped by certain things. Do you think that the meta is open for like a Vegeta variant that like maybe hasn't been played a lot? So like I know I personally wrote today an article about Saiyan Rampaging Vegeta. And just like how much damage that deck has potentially to throw out because of the mastery and his named cards and things like that. But it seems like, I know you played, Wayne, Black Conflict Vegeta, and like Final Flash it can only be stopped by energy attacks. Or energy combat cards, I mean. His other card that doesn't see a lot of Destruction Blast, while it doesn't see a lot of play, Destruction Blast, while it doesn't see a lot of play, it has to be stopped by an energy combat card. And it can, it does at least 5 more if you're playing, the Awakening stack. Gallic Gun gives you multiple crit effects, and it can't be prevented. So, like, it seems like maybe this is the meta where we were kind of waiting for Vegeta to kind of shine.
Oh, man. I got so much to say. But I'm only going to say a little bit. All right, so, Vegeta has a lot of natural answers to what's going on right now in the meta. And another thing is that is a secret weapon, the silver bullet, if you will, is the dynamic Vegeta. Starting on level 2 is huge because, he cuts off the endurance anyway. Like, there is no endurance for your opponent at that point. That's really huge with Vegeta because his attacks are already huge. Sure, he's not doing 2 life cards like he is on level 1, but turning the endurance off is almost better than that because, like you said, Gallic Gun, that's 6, 7 with his mod. Final Flash is 5. The power whatever that thing calls. It should be called Big Bang, but it's not. That's going to be 6
Destruction
life
Blast
cards. And
is, 5
Destruction
plus 1.
Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also lets you rejuve stages. Like, it's a lot of damage that can come at your opponent really fast. And I think that it can kind of be an aggro deck that doesn't really look like one. And it also has weapons to get... It's one level away from level 3, and we won't even talk about Vegeta level 3 right now. But against a Gohan deck, he probably like slice through it like a knife through butter.
Yeah.
Cold knife, not even a hot one.
So Matt, with that all like kind of to think about, with all of the freestyle hate cards, like how do you think you'd have to balance a deck like that, or do you think it's a feasible deck to compete against Gohan?
So the thing is that you have to think about right now is if you look at the way the meta is currently driven and built, like the non-styled hate cards, they're definitely down in play. Mm-hmm. Just because the decks like Restored Gohan and Saiyan Broly do have such a high style threshold, so those cards can end up being dead in those matchups.
Right.
Honestly, I think if you were going to build a Vegeta deck, I think you need to go all in on being as consistent as possible, and if that means playing a heavy non-styled count, then you are just going to have to bite the bullet and do it. And, just accept the fact that you might outright lose a combat if your opponent is able to get off a tandem blast or something like that. I definitely think that the deck could be successful in the Gohan matchup specifically. The one matchup I do worry about is Broly because power stages matter.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that you have to deal with. Even if you're playing dynamic, if you unleash to level 3, you're probably going to be going to 3 above 0. Mm-hmm. And then that's where things are going to get really, really difficult for you in a sense, just because 3 power stages work with a lot of your attacks or energies, unless you dig or heroic dashing punch. So that makes things a little bit harder for you. So I do think that dynamic could be a good call. I think also maybe something like Ascension Vegeta could make a comeback. It's a lower non-styled count, and you have red restriction and final flash effects, which are pretty big in the Gohan matchup. And then you can also play red energy blast, red knee lift. So you can kind of hedge in that matchup, and you get to play 3x red blocking hand, 3 red resourceful blocks. So you can kind of defend yourself against those physical decks like Broly. So I think maybe Ascension Vegeta is more well-positioned than a Saiyan version of the deck would be.
Well, how do you feel about like an orange version too, like Retribution, with orange having like the gain 5 stages and being able to jump levels to end combat?
I think that orange is really good, as long as... I think the one thing that makes it interesting, though, is Drill's not having memory. Makes that deck a lot different, but I do see it being successful. The only thing that kind of makes it awkward is Vegeta's level 1, making your non-style attacks are only modified by your power, so if you want to Aura Drill, you're only getting the value on your style attacks. And the thing is, I want to play 3 orange fierce attacks, 3 orange eruptions, 3 orange rages. So the attack density in that deck would be pretty high. You may even want to run Unleashed in that deck just because you want to get to 3 and 4 as fast as possible. But I don't think that Retribution is the best version of that deck. I like it a lot, but I just think that it's going to have... Yeah. I think the orange Retribution will have more problems against Gohan.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just kind of spitballing what we think works well against him, right? Like, because it seems like, at least the numbers are showing, if you're in finals, you probably are playing against Namekian Gohan. So just kind of, like I said, just testing the waters to see what's out there that maybe people just aren't expecting.
I think
like you said...
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, all I was going to say was, like you said, like, there's a lot of decks to be found in the format. And it really just comes down to what you're comfortable with playing, I think. Because, I mean, like, even if your deck may not have a great matchup against Gohan, if you know your deck in and out and the Gohan player doesn't know his as well, you're still probably in a better position than he might be in,
Yeah.
Especially, that deck is good, but, I mean, it does have a skill cap, and the better the player is, just the more dangerous it is. But that's all decks, but especially so with that deck.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're best served with just 2 mindsets going into the event, which is I'm going to beat this deck, so that's one mindset. Like, I'm building this deck to beat this deck, so I'm going to be reactive. I'm going to think, these are the cards that are being played in this deck, and this is what I'm going to do to counteract that with my build. And then the other strategy would be I'm going to play a strategy that doesn't rely on interacting with them in order to win. Like, I'm going to play something that doesn't care about what the opponent does, and that's how I'm going to be able to win games. So I think your mindset has to be one of those two things right now. And if you're trying to beat the deck, then your deck building should reflect that. And if you're trying to just do your own strategy without having to interact, or make it so interaction is meaningless for them, then you really need to focus on making that deck as consistent as possible.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we've all pulled away from this. So.
Yeah. Consistency is important. Okay, all right. We fell deep into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, but I think it was good because, I mean, like we said, like we talked about a bunch of different strategies and deck types and even just styles in general that might be good against him. So.
Facts. All right. So with all that information being slung at you, we're going to go into talking about some future stuff here. So the dev team hints for set 10. This was also covered in Chris Kreisman's article on Fantasy Warriors Gather, so check out that blog. It's really sweet. That's where I read all my daily, weekly, monthly, yearly DBZ content, and I think it's pretty cool. So you should go check it out. I'm not getting paid to say this.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, anyway. So let's go over some hints that they gave us. So we'll go over the first one. So it's a 7-year jump from the timeline to Gohan versus Dabura. So what speculation? The kid, what do you think, man? What do you think that means?
7-year jump.
7-year jump.
So we left off with what? Cell. The Battle of Cell.
Yeah.
Let me refer to my vast DBZ knowledge. Everything that's happened since Goku defeated Cell was there was a tournament of sorts.
Yes,
that's right.
There was a tournament.
Yes, correct.
I don't know if they're going to get saucy and get into the Bojack aspect of things. Technically, that happened in between the tournament between Cell.
That is true. That did happen. If they want to put movie stuff into a quote unquote like starter set, I guess.
Yeah, but for real, you probably got like Spopovich. That whole thing happened.
Spopes.
Yeah. You got Majin Vegeta popping off. I think that's what the people want.
Yeah. Well, so what I wrote about, which is interesting, is it depends on where the end of the Dabura fight actually technically ends for the set, right? Because he doesn't go Majin until like they go back to the tournament, right? And then he goes Majin and he blows up the stand and he fights Goku one-on-one. So it's interesting to see if they're gonna put him in the set now because he technically is gonna have like the seeds of going evil again, or if they're gonna wait on him. It's gonna be interesting to see which way they handle it.
I think you're going to see him in the set with Boo. Not this set, but I think it's probably going to be like set 12.
Like set 11 or set 12,
yeah, set 11 or 12. I think you'll see him in the set with Boo. That way you'll have two definitive villain MPs. Both will probably be outrageous.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So that'll be interesting.
Outrageous.
They will.
I think realistically what happens is we get Goten Kid Trunks probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goten, he's so fun.
Please let us not sleep on my waifu, Videl.
Yeah.
She'll be in the set.
She will definitely... I really hope she's good, man. Like,
you think they'll let her use energy attacks, or they give another Hercule treatment?
I don't know.
Can fly.
I mean, yeah. So she could fly, and she does show a little glimmer of something when Gohan's training her. I don't.
Genius, you say?
Yeah, that's right. It was blue too, I believe. So.
Wouldn't it be real dickish if like they gave her a card called Videl's Flight and said she can't use energies? So your argument is just totally shitted on?
Yeah. Well, so I think no matter which way they handle it, I think it's fine, right? Like, if she can't use energies, then they just have to build her in such a way where she doesn't care about not having them, right? Or they put in more tools where the utility cards that happen to be energies can also be on other things, whether they're physicals or just other kinds of cards, so she doesn't have to worry about that as much. Which it seems like they're kind of starting to do. Like, we're seeing a lot of effects that used to be on just attacks going on to, like, setups and onto allies and onto things like that. So I think that there's ways for them to give her that negative and it not feel like a negative. The one thing that I spec'd on a while ago when I was talking to some people about her is that if they make it where she can't use energies, if they still allow you to have allies in your deck that have energies, because she does hang out with like the Z Warriors, right? And so she knows that those aren't like mirrors and parlor tricks, right? Like,
yeah, I guess. What really needs to happen is we need to get a new Krillin stack. What's up?
Yeah.
Krillin with hair, man. Krillin with hair. It's coming. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think Krillin's definitely likely to happen. And one of the other things I was happy to like spec on was Hero 18 is a potential for this.
Ooh, that'd be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That
so
is true. Eat it.
I wonder if they would make her a hero or if they would just give her the same claws that like 16 had.
No, I think you would go with making a whole new stack.
Yeah, but would that let you use? Would that let you use the sweet new level 2?
Nope.
Oh, that's dirty. Why?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Consistency purposes of the game. The spirit of the game, she was supposed to get a separate hero stack.
Yeah, and I think that it would be cool to see how different her hero stack would function versus her like villain stack. I mean, it's the same way with like Vegeta, right? Like they focus on very different things. So I think anytime you have that ability to use that as a tool, you should do it.
Right on.
Yeah. The other thing too about talking about MPs that could potentially get updates, Hercule could get a new stack technically.
Thank God.
I think he just needs a new level. He needs a new level 1. That's all.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the level 1 is like obviously the huge problem.
He's been getting a lot of love though. Seen him in tournaments a couple times. One time.
Dude, that one time was nice.
One time. Let me get that one time. I heard you one time though. Yeah. So I think talking about Videl too, that'll lead us into the thing that we'll talk about later, which is like the heritage aspect of it stuff. So I have some talking points there. So
sure.
Number 2, World Martial Arts Tournament Championship belt is a card. Speculation begin. What do you think?
Hottest token on the market. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be an active player card tapped around the world. It's going to be so dope. Most altered card in DBZ's history will be that card. Let's talk about art. What's going to be on it? I'll probably just be the belt. Over or under that Hercule is included in the art of this card.
I think it's 50-50, honestly.
Oh, you're so lame, Kreitz.
I know, but it's the truth. It could go either way.
Son of a bitch. Pick a side.
If I had to go with what I want, I would say not. Not that I don't like the champ. I just would like to see the belt itself.
Like the original champ, like the champ belt card, which it was legitimately just the belt.
Yeah, that'd be dope. It'd be like good homage too.
It really would. So, what type of card do you guys think it'll be?
So I had a real inkling, and this, nothing official. A lot of us were just kind of like shooting the shit or whatever. But it sounded to me like it might be a non-style attach card.
Damn it.
Yeah, it got me really excited because that means styles like Orange and Black that have a hard time playing Unleashed, if they want to keep making that a legitimate option for the meta, get a card that can help them out, right? Because like they just don't have very good attach cards at the moment, outside of Punt if you're a villain for Black.
I don't know the name. I don't know the name of it, but that one card's really good. One that does 6, and every time you destroy cards, you lower their anger or something.
Extreme Blast.
Extreme Blast. Yes, that card is not bad.
that card
is certainly playable if
that
you
card
want
is
to.
mediocre.
Yeah. If you want to take spots with it, you are allowed to.
I would play 1 to 2 copies of said card in a black deck that ran Unleashed.
If you want an attached card, you could play that one.
Yeah.
How bad you want to level up, son? How bad you want?
That's
Show Dad. Go ahead.
Well, I would say, as far as what the card itself is going to do, I have no earthly idea. Like what the belt itself will do. I hope it's super iconic and that a bunch of people are going to play, because just seeing people slap belts on themselves would feel so cool to me.
It'd be cool, like if there can only be one on the board, so if one's already out, you can't play it. It would also be really cool if that when it's attached to you, your opponent can't use energies, but it falls off like super easy.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Isn't that
like
thematic?
Yeah, that is kind of cool because like you have to tone down your power so people don't know that you're like a Z fighter. Basically, you're just acting like a normal dude. That could be interesting.
The champ's just saying everything you do is a trick, so you can't do your trickery until you punch him or something, and it falls off.
Yeah, what would be the detach clause though? Like a successful attack makes that card real bad.
It'd have to be like a it wouldn't be successful attack at that point. It'd be successful physical attack. It just wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I guess it's
So they can
you could shut off like someone's entire deck if they're energy heavy.
That would be really shitty.
You could just make it when their MP reaches 0.
Okay.
Is it like 0 stages?
So then that way, like, you can make some weird interplay where it's like, I want to do stage damage to my opponent, but I don't want to get them to 0 because then otherwise they get rid of the attach card. Like,
oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
they wouldn't even be able to drain their own stages either.
Yeah. So just like, okay, yeah, once you get to 0, like it falls off, but then I'll just be like, all right, physical attack for 4 stages.
Yeah. I don't know. See, I feel like if you go that route though, then it makes the belt feel, I don't know, weaker, because like it's good when it's in play, but it's not gonna be in play for very long. Like I'm looking for like an effect.
That'll be in play.
Yeah, but not forever, right? Like if you're a physical beats deck, you gotta. I mean, unless you're a physical beats deck that does life cards. So like if you're a blue physical beats or something, maybe.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, yeah, that's a choice that you have to make, but it's also, I mean, if you're a physical beats deck anyway, I don't think you really care if your opponent's throwing energy attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
To me, it's like your free 2-stage damage attack. Thanks, man.
Yeah, and I guess if they're not ready for you to play the belt, they might not actually be able to get you to 0. So that's something to consider also, I guess, if that were the case. I don't know. Just feels weird.
I wish this card was real. It sounds like you could like do a lot of different stuff with it.
Yeah. Another thing that to consider with the card is whether it has high endurance or not. So again, when all of us were kind of like just talking and shooting the shit about what it could do, like we're doing now, someone talked about the card Are You Tough Enough from the old game that had like endurance like 100 or 1,000,000 or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Well, like doing like the same thing with the belt, because like the belt is like this really big iconic thing. Like, look at me, I'm the champ. You can't beat the champ. Like, like if that's something that they would do again, or if that's too cute, things like that.
I could see it being same route of an attached card, but if you want to make it an attached card that benefits me, I could just see it being like Master Roshi Sensei. Like, all my attacks do +1 life card, all your attacks do -1 life card.
That could be sweet.
Like, just it's simple, like, but it's extreme. Like, that's a potent card. Like, I would play that card.
Yeah.
Like, easily, and with
you definitely would want to Unleashed for it too.
Yeah. Like, and that card would then easily slot into like every Unleashed deck.
Yeah.
Can you imagine restored Gohan with the belt, bro?
No.
Get out of here.
I don't want to think about it.
Madman.
I don't want to talk about
it. So let's flip it on its head, right? So if maybe it's a card that you don't want to play with Unleashed, right? What would an effect like that have to be if it were an attachment, Like, it would have to be, like, maybe it's a effect that while it's in play, like, people can't advance or lower, like Armbreaker, but you put it on yourself actively,
I don't know. That feels weird.
Yeah. I mean, it can be.
Yeah. Or if they made it like, go ahead, Wayne.
Why would you do that to yourself? Get it.
Why? Because maybe you're like an MPV deck that doesn't want to lose to someone just like cheesing their way up levels.
Yeah, that's true. You could also give it like the treatment of like the way Goku Sensei works, where it's like, you can't win by MPVV, and you have it while it's attached, and then like while it's attached, your opponent can't mess with your levels.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Like something like that. Again, that's. I mean, you wouldn't Unleash for that. You'd just play that in a straight anger deck. I mean, I also like the idea of it, instead of being an attached card, it being the first card in this game to start in play.
Okay.
I think I like that idea as well.
Oh, they could do it as like a. They could do it like a if you go first, it starts in play or something. So like that way there can only be one in play, so that way both players don't get it.
No, make it a balancing card. Make it if you did not go first, and your opponent enters combat, you draw an extra card.
Okay.
Okay.
So then that way you're playing, like everyone, I mean, you play that card in your deck, and if you go second, it basically deters your opponent from entering first turn because you draw an extra card. But then otherwise, after that, the card is useless. So it's basically a championship belt. It's there just for show.
Yeah.
But if your opponent activates it on you, then, I don't know. I guess I just kind of like any card that creates like weird interplay, like just weird situations.
Well, and that's the cool thing, right? Because like this isn't something that really matters in the scheme of DBZ, so they can do really whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
I think I just personally want to see it do something cool because, like, as the creator of the WMAT format, I want people to want foil copies of this card in play in front of them. Like it would just make me feel good.
Yeah, that's true. No, that card. I think the card will be sweet though.
But I think that's enough speculation for a silly card.
For a single card, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So there's going to be 8 MP stacks and 3 to 4 legacy levels. That's a lot of stuff. 8 MP stacks. So if you guys had to think who the hero MPs would be for this set, like speculation, put your money on it. Wayne, who do you think the hero MPs would be?
4? Is it 4?
It's 8 total MPs, so it's either 4 or 6. So I'd probably on the side of 4.
All right, you get Goten, you get Kid Trunks, you get Videl. You said 8, okay. So you get Videl, Goten, Kid Trunks, Krillin, 18 hero, and probably a Goku. They would do that again. They give you another Goku, even though you really don't need one. Or maybe they give you like 2. Maybe they give you like 6 heroes and 2 villains. Maybe. Nah, they'd have to give you more than that. I don't know. I don't think it's worth having Spopovich and Yamu in this fucking game.
I wouldn't. I don't think Yamu will be in the game. I think you could see Spopovich. I think you could see Dabura, Babidi, Spopovich, and Pui Pui.
Ooh, I want Pui Pui stack up. So dope.
Of course you want. Who doesn't want Pui Pui? Everybody wants my man Pui Pui.
Oh God! I don't know if I answered the question successfully, but it was worth it just to get that out of you.
Just to hear that. Yeah. I'm pulling up what my speculation was. Okay, so on my article that I wrote, I put the full MP stacks could likely be, like you said, Videl, Goten, Kid Trunks, Hero 18, and I had Great Saiyaman as a full stack. He very well could just be a single level, but I think he would be a full stack. Yeah.
I will not accept that, and they should make him separate from Gohan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either they do it with Saiyaman, or they do it with future Gohan. Like, I think one of them can be attached and the other not attached, but I think they can't all be the same thing because otherwise Gohan is just the best MP in the game. I think
you gotta go for flavor and Gohan is a secret identity. They are not the same person.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and I think you and I, Matt, talked about how they could make Great Saiyaman not be Gohan, but could still play Gohan named cards. So that way he can still play Power Punch or still play Masenko if he wants.
Oh
man.
Well, he wouldn't. You think about it. Like, he wouldn't get the benefits. He wouldn't get the benefits of like Piccolo or Chi-Chi or anything, right? Because he's not Gohan.
I just want Great Saiyaman name cards. I want Great Saiyaman's Justice Punch. I want all the stuff. I want a card that's like Great Saiyaman's pose, and it's just him dabbing in the pose, and it's just like an card. Like, there's so much you can do with his stack. Like, don't waste it.
I want level 1 and 2 to be like the Golden Warrior.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See.
Level 1 and
that's the good stuff.
And then like level 3 and 4 could be like Saiyaman full out.
Yeah,
but still
like
not
Gohan.
Full
costume. Yeah.
Yep, not Gohan at all. Not allowed to be.
And then I think for the villains, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Wayne?
What?
Yes.
Set up cards, Turban and the shades and shit.
dope. You know what they should do? They should make each piece of his outfit like Exodia, and if you collect all the pieces of his outfit, you win the game.
I hope to God they don't do
I want it. I want it. Put it in the game.
Oh, God.
Sandman is Exodia.
That's right.
All right.
And then, so like I was saying, the villains I think are pretty straightforward. Like,
now that we're talking about Exodia, I want to talk about other... Real quick. Just
keep cutting in and out.
What?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. Yeah.
My bad.
So,
Is that like Skynet?
yeah, you're, what were you saying? All right.
I think he might just be lagging.
I can hear you now.
All right, so we were talking about Exodia, right? Remember a little card from Score Z called Dragon's Victory?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what do you think about having, another win condition added to the game at this stage? Good or bad?
We need it.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
We do.
Yeah.
It will open up deck building so much. This game needs an element of combo, in order to keep pushing it along. And right now, it just doesn't have that. So that's why we end up getting stuck with the same looking decks and archetypes. It's because, I have no reason to play all the blue cards that say Razor Lower Player's Anger 2.
Yeah. Plus, if you add a card that's like Dragon's Victory into the game, you could spin it to where it works with Saiyaman, and you can make it a heroes only thing. So it's just him being look, no one, no one's dying today. I'm just gonna stop you using my justice powers.
Martha will not die tonight.
Just call the card just call the card Justice.
Yeah.
Justice. No, we do need it though. And so, Kreisman, you were then gonna go over your
just the villains. I was just say I think the villains are pretty straightforward. Obviously Dabura is going to be in it because that was part of the hint. The fight is going to be there. Spopovich seems pretty likely if they're going to focus on the tournament arc. And then Babidi obviously is the guy pulling all the strings, so he's probably going to be another, I would guess, ally-centric deck, but maybe unlike Ginyu where it's a bunch of allies, maybe he'll be a villain ally deck that only wants one or two that buffs them up and does things, kind of like what they were trying to do with King Kai.
He'll be like, ooh.
All right. Your mic is just cutting out, man. It's all, all I heard was.
That's all I said.
Okay.
I was like, oh no, it sounds like King Kai. Wait.
Well, like King Kai, but better. And then as far as the single levels for MPs, I think the Hercule level 1 seems likely. I think a Krillin new level seems likely if they're not going to give him a full stack. I actually think a single Piccolo level could be really cool. I don't know what level they would give him.
A level 1.
Yeah. Well, they could do the flip, right? They could do a level 4 for him. And then it gives you all the reasons to play all the cards that level you really fast, which he kind of wants to do.
His evolution level 4 is still broken.
Yeah.
Your opponent can't use the effects of Dragon Balls.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah. No. There's no way you would just give him a level 4.
Yeah.
He's a level 1 team. His level 2s are both of his level 2s are good. Both of his level 3s are solid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could because his premier 3 is not the best. I could see maybe a 1 or 3.
Yeah, I think either would be fine. And then the last one I had for a single was actually Hero Vegeta. Just one level because we're likely going to get, like we said, the Majin Vegeta stack in either set 11 or set 12. So I think having one single hero level for Vegeta, kind of showing what he is about right before he goes, fuck it, I just want to beat Goku again.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Yeah. Wayne, your microphone's still broken, man. Is he still on the call?
He's in the call.
Okay, it's just broken. Yeah, so just to run through, I think I agree with you on the additional levels. The full stacks, I think just for heroes, I would just do Goten, Kid Trunks, Videl, and Saiyaman.
Okay, and just give them the bonus spot for your boy Pui Pui.
Yeah, Pui Pui. Mike's broken. All you hear is Pui. Hey,
there he is! Hooray!
Hey!
Who ate all the pecan sandies? Pui Pui. Pui Pui ate all the pecan sandies. Sorry. Number 4, Heritage Matters. This is the thing that I am the most excited about because it's going to bring a lot of great things to the game. Wayne, are you familiar with the whole heritage thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Kreisman, what are your thoughts on Heritage Matters?
So, like I talked about in the article itself, there's a couple different ways they could handle it, right? So, they had the Namekian Heritage Only and Saiyan Heritage Only cards in the old game that were specific for people of that heritage. If you weren't calling a Tokuwaza, so that way you couldn't put those cards into whoever you didn't want. As well, they had in Rizi, every character had a trait. I believe the traits were Human, Saiyan, Alien, and Namek. I couldn't find any others when I was doing the research on the article. But they could do something with those kind of in this game again, where like you can make cards where like if you're an Earthling, do X, or like cards that are how they're like heroes only and villains only could be like Earthling only, or Namekian only, like things like that. I think it's cool. I think for me personally, I hope it's a taste of it and not an overabundance of it, because I think that it could not scare people away, because I think everyone who's in Fantasy at this point is in it because of the love of the game and of the characters. But I think it could feel different if you're not used to playing with those kinds of cards. Like if you didn't play Score or if you didn't play Rizi, like that kind of stuff might seem out of place.
Wayne, what do you think, man?
Anything that gives you an incentive to play weaker characters, I think is good for the game.
Yeah. I mean, they can kind of handle it like Underdog, right?
Yeah. It's like what they do with like Playful Punch and
stuff. If
you
give someone... Yeah, that card's sweet, but only some people play because they can get that benefit, so I think that's really cool.
Yeah. No, I think that from the gameplay, way the gameplay of it, the deck building, and then also just from being a designer, I think that they're going to have a lot of fun with it, because it's just you're going to be able to create cards in a different way. So, like, for instance, let's say you have a black card, that's just it's a black attack with endurance on it, lowers your opponent's anger, and then you get to add to the bottom of it Earthling, and then anything that takes place after that text only applies to Earthlings. Like, so then that way you can still create playable cards, but then just now you can play that playable card that has an even better effect by playing a character. So, for instance, let's say it tacks on a critical damage effect. Okay, well, the card's good on its own, but now I have this incentive for playing like Master Roshi or Tien or another MP that'll have Earthling tied to them. So I think anything that kind of just adds those additional layers to the game is just going to be really good for it. And especially the way that it's been described to me, I don't see it being an issue. I do think you're going to have people be kind of like, off like on the idea at first until they see how more unique experiences get created from those types of cards.
Agreed. I don't know why anyone wouldn't like that. Like, what are some of the arguments that people say, well, no, that can't happen? I don't get it.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily like arguments against it. So the one thing for me is like cards are getting exceptionally wordy. So the more words you're tacking on to a card, like stuff is going to feel like it's just more cramped and more cramped and more cramped. So that, like, to me is one of the downsides, is like how much are you giving up to add another cool flavor? It might turn out that those keywords are what help balance a lot of the degenerate cards that we've seen. So like how degenerate would Bicycle Kick be if it was, Android only for the searching drills part? Like how degenerate would Meditation have been if it was like Alien only for the set anger, or for the discard to use an energy attack or something. Like things that like can take some of the cool parts of a card and then like give them, like you said, give them a reason to play it in a particular deck versus just every deck, I think yes, I agree that that's a good idea. But there's only so much real estate on a card. So if you're adding those abilities in, that means you're leaving out something that maybe could have been there, you know?
Okay.
After image technique worked out okay.
Have you tried to actually read that card?
Nah, man, I get lost.
Yeah.
It's like going to a theme park, except there's no rides, so it's just disappointment.
I mean, that card, to be fair, is actually not that bad. Like,
No, I agree.
it's just very particular decks that want to play it.
I mean, let's just turn every card sideways. That'll work.
I mean,
Get
will
rid
it
of
work?
Fuck it, man.
Oh.
Man, I want sideways MPs. I want fucking gatefolds.
No, you don't.
Oh, that'd be
Shut
sweet.
up.
Dude, man, I do. I want a Pui Pui gatefold. Pui Pui. Gatefold Pui Pui.
My God.
Oh God, I want that. That
You
guy.
now everyone's just hype on Pui Pui.
That's right.
All right. So we talked about dev team hints for set 10. So we're winding down here on this
That's right.
ridiculously long podcast. I thank you guys for sticking with us.
Yeah,
And
we had a lot to say.
we'll be sure to put on the episode itself, like we could probably add in the minute marks at which certain things are talked about, so then people can like skip around. Especially because I know there's some people that are interested in the fusion talk that we're about to get into right now. So we'll be sure to list that information just so you can skip through some of the stuff you want to. Ain't that right, Kreitz?
I could definitely try. I've never done it before, but it can't be that hard.
You're just supposed to say yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fuck
all
yeah.
you're supposed to do is KMD.
Oh fuck yeah.
KMD. Oh, fuck yeah. We the best.
Hold it down.
KMD. Fuck yeah. We're going to have so many sound bites.
That's right.
We should just collect them and just make a little like
Like a soundboard.
like a soundboard. just like a radio show. All right. So right now we're going to talk about fusion format and the Gen Con event that's coming up. I know I'm excited because I didn't get to play in it last year because I didn't have time to actually build decks, but now I have some time, so I'm doing it. Wayne, are you playing in that fusion though?
I've been thinking about it, you know. Krillin gets 8 discs, so that's kind of cool with Krillin's Heat-Seeking Blast. So I was thinking about like a. He also has a sweet card, Z Warriors Gather. It's an ultra from the old game that just gets you 7 dudes. So that's awesome.
7 breath.
7 bros.
Right.
So I was thinking about making like a blue Krillin ally deck that just throws a shit ton of energies with Allied Blitz.
Oh,
Real
that sounds
quick.
spicy.
Yeah, he also has a sweet card, Krillin Ask for Help, that just gets you 2 guys at full, so
Dope.
he's got a lot of ways to get allies really quick, so I'm thinking I'll probably get into that. I don't know how good it's going to be, though, so.
Well, you know what
Would
I'm
you
surprised-
play Krillin the Father level 1 so you could put Z Warriors Gather in the discard pile and then Yajiro before it?
Can you? Because I thought Yajirobe said you couldn't get limit 1 per dex, right? Oh no, that's his. Yeah, that's that one, right?
You
No,
can't
it's
get them. Huh?
Yeah, that is not limit 1 per deck.
Oh, that's gay.
Well,
That is.
yeah.
I was
So you
probably
go
just going to do the. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, then you can just have a setup and play, and then go get Father. Never mind, can't get Fatherly Advice. It's 1 per deck. I'm sad.
Damn it. Damn it.
I'm sad.
sorry to just immediately like put a giant hole into that boat.
You just
You
saved
shut
so
the
much
fuck
time.
up, Kreitz. You shut up, okay?
No, I probably
what I was gonna
did
what I
that.
was gonna say is I'm surprised you're not trying to play your boy Tien with like Tien's surprise technique and stuff like that from the old game.
Tien's Flight.
I'd like
Yeah.
to, but it would have been too hard for me to get all those cards. I already have all the old Krillin cards because I had Krillin deck back in the day, so it's just easier. Maybe next year I'll do it.
That's fair.
This year.
Is it not like print and go like the other?
You can.
Yeah.
Wayne likes to play his real cards and foil cards.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm that
I
guy.
mean, I respect that. I also like doing
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
is, but
So the Fusion format last year was won by Tag Team Gohan, and the finals was a mirror match of Tag Team Gohan.
Gohan.
Goddamn, that goddamn Gohan. Him and his goddamn 350. With that being said, Christ, have you done any work in the format itself?
So I've done very little. And surprisingly, I didn't start with the MP that I thought I would. So when I used to play Score, I played a shit ton of Piccolo, like Piccolo everything. But the first deck I built for Fusion to try on Octagon is an Oob deck.
God damn it! God damn it, Christ, man!
I'm saying.
Can you just play Tier 1 stuff just once?
Well,
one time?
Now hear me out. There's a reason why I picked him. Have you read his level 3? Because it's absolutely bonkers.
I have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Bonkers?
Dude, okay, everything, all life cards are banished, your opponent can't use endurance, all of your attacks do +3, all of your style cards are focused, all of your attacks that cost stages cost 1 less. That's a lot.
But if you don't have any attacks, it doesn't...
I mean, you want to have attacks, I would imagine.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you're playing a deck that's working with 4 cards per turn.
Right.
Yeah.
But
whereas, like, all the other Fusion decks are, like, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I mean, maybe. But, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played the format at all, right? But the reason I wanted to try it was because it's the first deck that I really wanted to play Unleashed in that seemed cool for that format.
Yeah, that's cool. It reminds me of when that Brandon kid posted the link for the images, and you commented and said the Oob images are blurry, and I was just like, who cares about Oob?
Me, motherfucker. I actually think I have a playset of foil Oobs in my closet somewhere.
See, now we're getting to the nitty gritty. That's why I really wasn't playing. Well, I'm gonna pull the dust off my foil Oobs. I got diving kick, and that card's fine. So
that card's not even in the deck. That card's garbage.
All right. Well,
no, but the deck idea is kind of what I like to do with Blue Resolute. So it is a Resolute deck. Because if you can unleash to 3, all of your attacks are doing +4. All of them, they can't be prevented. They're all banished. Like, that's a lot. And Blue has a ton of physical cards that do life card damage in, like, Pansy, Fanzy, and Scorzy. So you have all these attacks that aren't going to cost you stages, so you don't really give a shit about if your opponent's attacking your stages. You do a ton of strictly life card damage. Like, it's all banished and unpreventable. Like, it seems like it could be powerful.
Aren't you not allowed to use Fanzy cards?
No, I believe you're allowed to now. I think because they have on the updated CRD, they have updates for Celestial Tournament and for Legends on it.
Oh, sweet. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm super sad because one of the decks that I wanted to play was Orange Piccolo Multiform with Charge, but Tim, like, last second made Orange Charge banished after use for Fusion format.
So you can't just, like, loop them over and over again?
So I can't cycle them, because you could essentially maybe get into, like, an infinite loop of sorts, so you can find a way to rejuvenate them. Like, so I'm pretty saddened by that. That was only one of the deck ideas. Another deck idea was if you play Saiyan Goku, you can basically play all the cards that draw cards in your entire deck.
Yeah, I was going to say, surprise Goku's good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is it's all Awakening stack. Like,
yeah.
Thomas was playing games with that deck last night. It was doing pretty well. Then Azareth brought up a dynamic Vegito deck, where basically you just sit on level 2 and then mill your opponent for 7 each turn, so you're putting them on like a 6-turn clock at the minimum. And then you basically just in combat. So you just play a bunch of combat enders, and so you just in combat and then just run a lot of blocks to stay alive so you can just kill them. That deck was actually pretty cool. And then Red Enraged TN is like bonkers. Like
That sounds gross. Yeah.
Because of shoulder grab and sniping shot, static shot, and double strike, and you like Azareth in one game went from 1 to MPPV in a single turn. Like,
Jesus.
Nice.
Yeah, it was disgusting. And then of course there's the secret Spirit Bomb deck that we're working on for Fusion format right now that we're trying to perfect to make it as fast and consistent as possible. But that deck also tested pretty well. So.
Yeah, if you need a Spirit Bomb, I think I have an extra one.
Yo, if you do, let me get to it.
Just throwing that out there.
I want to play a Goku deck because I own Blinding Strikes, and like, yeah, it's not like the best card for Fusion format, but that card is just pretty. So.
It is very pretty.
I'd play it.
I feel you.
Yeah, go ahead, Kreitz.
Well, I say talking about like MPs that are probably good in the format. It seems like Gohan, Vegeta, Broly seems like he could be nuts. I don't know if people have been playing him in Fusion, but his old levels were nasty.
Which MP?
Broly.
Ooh, yeah, he's still good.
Yeah, he seems like he would be.
That guy, he just won't go away. God damn it.
Yes, sir. He's there. He's still there. He's still a guy.
Master Roshi's still really good.
Yeah, Roshi seems like he could be good. 18 could be interesting with her new Fancy level 2.
Yeah, the thing
Is
about
her stare down one per deck?
Her stare down? I think you could play 6 stare downs in that deck if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No
The thing is about Fusion format is it's definitely like Legacy Magic, where it's like all the stuff we're talking about may seem unfair, but the thing is there are just so many degenerate strategies that are just way more unfair.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like that format's just crazy.
You can play 9, really. So you want 18 stare downs, actual stare downs, and then interrogations if you're black.
Maybe you have to play Black Conflict or Perceptive if they're keeping the Legacy MP ruling. I'm not sure if they are.
Ooh.
Well, can you not use so you can't use Scorzy Masteries with the fancy cards?
I don't think. I mean, if you have the Legacy bonus rule, I don't think so. It depends on if they're acknowledging that.
Well, the Legacy rule is only for playing Devious or Enraged, right? That was the whole point of the rule.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I'm dumb.
Yeah, so I mean, you could play a Scorzy Mastery with interrogations, which sounds gross, if you're allowed to.
Oh, Cell Saga Black Mastery. Gross.
Yeah.
or is Devious still just better?
Devious is still better.
Oh my god, that mastery.
I tried both of them.
Broken.
Yeah.
But you can't play interrogation with that mastery though. So you'd have to
if that ruling matters, we'd have to see. We'd have to talk to Tim about it.
Yeah. So you'd have Black Thought Focus. And,
I know all of the gross discard black cards from Scorzy are all limit 1 per, I think.
Black Body Destruction.
Yeah.
Black Buffer Block. Wow. Oh god.
Oh god.
It's like that style used to mean something to people.
God. That style used to be so broken.
Yeah.
Jesus. So yeah, Fusion format's just so deep. Like I want to see. Like last year, I was expecting a lot more like first turn decks, like first turn like kill or just the ability to kill somebody within 1 turn. But it was legitimately just all decks that were like somewhat unfair, and then the Gohan decks were just beating all those decks because they were just playing the fair game the most unfair as possible. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they were like hyper fair, basically.
Yeah. This game's gonna be really slow. It's gonna be super grindy, and we're both gonna hate it. Okay. Let's do it.
I wonder how disgusting Namekian is in that format. It feels like it should be disgusting.
The problem is, I mean, Elmer got pretty far last year with a Namekian Cell.
Yeah. Oh, Cell's got to be nice with training attack and shit.
Yeah. I can see that.
That card's garbage.
I think in comparison to some old Cell cards, probably.
Yeah,
it's not like backslap or anything.
I'll play a Sinchoke. The Sinchoke from Vegeta's doing 7 life cards on Preventable. Oh, that's so weak. What?
How?
That's the thing. I'll just take it. And you're like, what? He didn't even care. And then on his turn, he just goes off and I win.
yeah, sure. Here's these teamwork Kamehameha for like 12 or 14 or some dumb shit like that.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
So, I think Master Roshi is also really good in the format too because of Master Roshi's. I think the Master Roshi's Backstrike is like the best card to translate over from Panini Z because it's just
that's probably true.
demonic tutor. Oh, go get any card! Yay!
Yay!
I kind of want to play a really bad Pui Pui deck.
Pui.
Does he have free level?
Yeah, he does. He has a full NPC.
God!
Why would they do this?
We're doing it. Play.
Look.
Goal is to win one game.
Oh God.
Thinking more about the format too now that we're sitting and talking about it. Like, how good are speedball decks? It feels like they should be disgusting. Like, do people do too much damage?
Goku's Lucky Break is a Goku name card. Goku's Capturing Drill is a Goku name card. Vegeta's Plans is a Vegeta name card. Bulma Scouter is a Bulma name card.
I guess it's fair. Well, does Bulma have a full stack?
It'd still be Slug, Bow.
You could try and do a Speedball Namekian deck.
Slug Bow.
What's a Slug Bow?
Hey, play.
Dude, play ball right now.
So, do any of you actually know what Pui Pui does?
Dude, I'm gonna pull it. I have
it up.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it and see if I can pull the stack. I don't know, but whatever he is, I'm probably gonna build a Pui Pui deck tonight.
He's about to be your oob deck.
He is my oob.
Alright, hit us with the knowledge.
Oh my God.
Pui Pui, level 1. Focused energy attack. Good start.
Okay.
Cost 3 power stages to perform. If successful, remove any 3 cards in your opponent's discard pile from the game. What?
Not bad.
Not bad. Level 2.
Not bad.
Pui Pui, Henchman. His power is Spin Kick. Physical, doing +4 stages of damage. Remove the top card of your opponent's discard pile from the game. If successful and you have more cards in your discard pile than your opponent, raise your anger 2.
Okay.
The Flashy. Focus physical attack, doing +1 life of card or damage for each card your opponent's removed from the game pile.
Now we're talking.
Dying Planet Pui Pui. Unleash the 3. Drop focus physical bombs all day. All day.
Matt just found his like bombs over Baghdad deck.
That's a real deck.
Yes, it is. Once you get to 3, you're fucking people up. Like, focus physical for 11. Fucking like
11.
Oh, man.
It's way more than that. Shit.
I know. I'm just saying.
That's some weak ass shit if you're only doing 11.
I'll be throwing it for like 30.
Shit. I ain't
40.
jumping through all these hoops for 11. You crazy?
I'll play probably like Red and Rage probably. Just get to 3 as fast as possible.
Yeah, man. You're probably gonna have like 20.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm doing it. Pui Pui. That level 3 is gross.
Dude, you should build it right now so we can run it after this.
I'm probably going to. Man, the deck is savage. Does he have any name cards? I don't think he does. No?
Who knows?
Nah, I can't have any name cards.
Well, he gets all the Majin cards, right? Cause he's
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of those Majin cards are actually good, though. Besides, like, Heel Kick, like, back.
I really hope I didn't, like, reveal a Tier 0 strategy on the podcast.
If you did, I can always cut it out later.
Snap. Majin Death Focus. Use immediately after an energy attack you perform becomes successful. Discard up to 3 of your opponent's allies in play. Draw a card.
Gross.
Oh, man. That shit's crazy, man.
Dude, man. Pui Pui.
Cheap plug from earlier in the podcast. We were talking about how good Devastating Blow was. Next level in Pui Pui.
Pui Pui. Pui Pui's level 3 is Devastating Blow, but better. Because it's not Devastating Blow, but doing other damage.
Would you play him red? Wouldn't you just rather play him black?
Maybe you're right, dog. Maybe you're right. No,
yeah.
Good question. No, shit.
Why would you play him in red?
Just to get to 3 faster.
No, son.
No.
Nah, man,
at least.
Black. And your cards, you gotta sit on level 2 and hit some kicks, you know what I'm saying?
Level 2, spank. Spank, Pui Pui. Man.
Dude, I like how this Pui Pui deck, if you don't have Dying Planet in play, could just play like a Hero's Heart is Strong, and suddenly that's like your super win condition. You're like, banish everything, kill you.
And
Wow.
you're dead. You and your friends are dead. This deck is so sad.
Maybe I should cut this part out. Maybe it's too much technology for people.
Guys, we're going to have to wrap this podcast. We got some serious shit to talk
I
about.
dare somebody. I dare somebody to show logic.
Show up with the Pui Pui.
Somebody heard about the deck, and they're like, "Man, I'm playing Pui Pui now. Man, I heard about that Pui Pui on the KMDcast."
Right,
I was like, "Pui Pui." Man, you know what other MP I also want to build a deck with? Arqua.
Don't.
Swimming, swag surfing.
Arqua is real bad.
Yeah.
Man, the PUR in Scores U is so shitty. Pui Pui's PUR at all three of his levels, 2.
Well, because everybody got +1.
2. And that's not good still. Even if it's 3.
I can
Yeah.
play black. I can play black teamwork in this deck.
That's true.
Dang.
3. Oh. Yes. Yep. There's some black reflections in there.
Dude.
Black Reflection would actually be gross. That thing.
But I think I'm just gonna die to like Saiyan Goku draw all the cards.
I mean, probably, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Pui Pui.
We're talking about the dream. All right. I'll talk more about the dream later. All right. So aside from like Pui Pui being tier 0, what other MPs do we think can be relevant in fusion format?
Cards that get combat.
Wayne, I can't hear you, man.
Wayne, you're back to being a robot again.
Skynet.
That's true.
That's real.
This is real life.
This is happening right now. Oh, yo, I can use Goku Sensei.
Yeah.
Aim level and me.
That's
son.
actually, that's the one that I have for the Oob deck. Because you unleash and you're like, you never fucking put me back down a level.
Goku Sensei is so gross in fusion format.
Yeah.
Can you play all 3? Can you run 3 Unleashed?
Yeah, I think so. They're just banished FPs, from what I've seen.
Sweet.
I could be wrong. Again, I'm not as up to date on the rules for Fusion as I am for like Fanzine.
God, yeah. Black Thought Focus gonna play 3 of those. Like,
do we just want to do the sign off now?
yeah,
Before we go deep into Flavor Country. I think Wayne might have exploded.
we spent way too much time talking about Black Pui Pui.
Yeah, although he got put into the fucking shadow realm by Pui Pui.
So you don't fuck with Pui Pui.
Yeah,
all right. Cool. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and sign off the cast. Thank you for hanging around with us this long through all this shenanigan-ish stuff that we talked about. I am Matt Coombs. Thanks for playing DBZ, and we'll talk about some other games in the future that are on the rise, including Bandai Z and Meta X Cross.
Cross X, Cross X, Cross X, Cross.
It's Meta XOXO. Got
That's
to
right.
throw.
Yeah, this is Kreitz from Fancy Warriors Gather. Again, thanks for the plug earlier, Matt. Your paycheck is in the mail.
And this is the kid. Okay, bye!